So I called the mayor chief because I wanted to ask him questions about, basically that people can outrun warrants for not reporting their guns stolen. Um, I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't make sense, especially when they've already reported guns stolen, so they're aware of the process, right? Um, but I was
A little bit more context.
Mhm.
Turner and I have kind of been discussing. We briefly talked about something about like 2-3 days back about this topic. I'm gonna paint a bit of a background, and I don't know how applicable this is, but this will give you kind of like a outline of the past and the current. So in the past, FOIAs were not legislatively needed. While there was due process, even if you submitted a FOIA, it was called the Moulton process. The Moulton process was dog shit. It pretty much was Moulton waking up, banging out like 2 sentences and publishing it. However, none of that was backed by the law, which meant if law enforcement so chose, they didn't have to release any records on warrants, on investigations until there was a docket filing. Um, in addition to that, the criminal negligence of a firearm charge, when you combine those two things, citizens, 90% citizens, like people that worked essential services like, sanitation, et cetera, were getting constantly robbed because people wanted their materials. They would steal their guns. They would attempt to report it through 311. But given that there was like no official record, they could literally spend the next week trying to report that their gun was stolen. But unless somebody came and actually took that report, they were at fault, right? It was a really scuffed law. Since then, FOIA went into law, right? Secondly, some of the criminal negligent charge has been changed. And so now it's more discretionary. Technically speaking, you could still charge somebody if someone gets robbed, right? You could go and let's say they get robbed, right? Let's say you're a senior buns worker, right? I come over as a criminal. I hold you up. I take your gun.
Oh my God.
Right. I bring you to the Fleeca bank.
I can't do anything.
You go on a chase with me. That person didn't realize the gun was stolen yet. You arrest me and you're like, oh, look, this gun belongs to, Hailey Maxwell that's working temporarily at Senior Buns because she's pissed off. And now you go to jail.
So stupid.
It makes it worse because we don't actually have affirmative defense in legislation, which is currently being worked on. So this is the current set of circumstances. Does that help?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I get it. But based on how it was in the past, sure, but it's not the past. And people can now FOIA their warrants and know how long their warrants are going to be out for. Therefore, be hiding in the shadows until the warrant is up, and then boom, what do you know? Here they are, in all their glory, still doing the thing.
You're saying people are outrunning their warrant?
Yes.
Okay, you have the ability to extend the warrant, right?
Right, but it was extended, and then all of a sudden wow, here they are, literally in the PD.
Okay, you can still press a charge, right?
Even though
after a warrant's been dropped or expired, I should say.
Why not?
Statute of limitations?
No.
What do you mean no?
A warrant is a warrant. You can push it to the docket. You have 30 days. Like, I'm really confused. Okay, so a warrant is just a mechanism by which you can put someone.
He's cooking.
It's like a warrant just allows you to immediately detain and arrest somebody based on probable cause and a set of charges that someone else's that is in law enforcement has written out. So you're writing the warrant. Now, anybody at any point can go arrest them and put them away. It's limited to like what, 3 days or 4 days?
Yeah.
Generally,
Mhm.
right? But you can extend it because you're
One time.
effectively like manhunting this person.
Right.
They have limits to it, but it's not like the evidence and the charges, once the warrant drops, mysteriously disappear.
So then why even have limits on it? Why not put the limit as statute of limitation?
I don't know how you want me to answer that question. That's very difficult. City health, probably.
Jesus.
Because, like, if you think about it, like I don't know what to say. Like, that's warrants are limited to 3 days, so y'all aren't hunting people over stupid shit all the time. And if it's actually serious, like, you know what I mean? Because you probably have some bozo puts up the warrant. They don't give a fuck after a day. Sure, it falls off after 3 days. Everybody's happy, right? But if it's actually more important, then that officer that's issued it, it is their responsibility for extending it. That extension is done via the DOJ. And if they really, really need the charge, it's still within the 30-day statute of limitation. Thus, you can push to the docket if necessary. But at the end of the day, it's all like it's a cost resource thing, right?
I believe we're 1 day past the statute. I believe. I have to double check.
Actual statute of limitation, or are you talking about the warrant?
The day we put the warrant, which I believe is the day that they found the gun.
These are all like mechanisms, right? Warrant's a mechanism, you know, going to court, it's a mechanism, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, the 30-day is still, you know,
a statute. Right.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay. So, but the time that we find the gun, I don't know. Do you see why it's just with specifically with this
scenario? You found the gun on the 30th day?
No. I didn't find shit. Okay. Today I'm digging and I'm like, holy shit. This is out of statute as of yesterday, but holy shit, this guy who does this stuff, and he shouldn't be doing this stuff because if he had a felony, he wouldn't be able to do this stuff, outran this warrant. And people think that he was hiding from the warrant because he FOIA'd stuff. And anyway, now he
That's not hiding. Right. So this is something that I try to ingrain and I know we're never going to reach in the police department in Los Santos.
He says no, but even Watson's like, I haven't seen him in weeks.
The city people, there's very few people that want to live healthy lives, but if they are not afforded the ability and law enforcement and the government doesn't afford them the ability to attempt
I wish
to
I could tell him, but I can't.
We turn into a
maybe in like 5 hours,
authoritarian state.
I agree with that, but I think you'd have a different opinion of the situation if you had details, which we can't give out right now.
With this situation, I can understand, but you know, okay, fine. Yeah, I get what you're saying. There's probably details that would make me change my mind, but you know, unfortunately, here, like, I'm not saying you give me details, but I hope you understand. You're also giving me generic things, and it's yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Winters, thank you for the 7 months. Answer, right? It's a Friday.
Probably talk a bit more of it once. Maybe we could do something about it once things are what
today. Talking about the others.
I think the case has to run its course before it's talked in depth with anyone.
So here's where like this is where I'm gonna try to ask like very.
He thought Turner was gonna spill shit. Turner ain't spilling nothing.
If you just found the gun, was the gun in your custody for more than 30 days?
I believe they found the gun, yes, 30 days ago.
Oh, yeah, then it's right.
I was only just made aware today, again, dealing with something different. And yeah.
the negligent ownership of a firearm is one of the most dog shit charges in the city. Because
That's his opinion.
there is no registry. Number two, you could theoretically lose your gun a year and a half ago. Well, things have gotten better because now shit apparently is
Right.
breaking
Well,
down,
that
but
right, and I get that, but this case they've already been reporting things. So again, I don't agree with you on that. And there could be a registry, right? I don't, we could have a registry. We could have a way that they go to the courthouse and put, this gun was stolen on this day and dated for this day, and they can't, you know what I mean?
I also think you feel strongly about this because you have more details here as to other things that person's been involved in, which would maybe sway to lean, have Nino lean the other direction as well.
Yeah.
I'm
course,
trying
of course.
to. I hope you understand, Maxwell. Like, I get that this situation, sure, like, let's say the details, like, how the fuck did this guy get away? But when we have to think about the law and its applicability and what it should be, it needs to. We have to think about it not like if the law was different, we could have caught this guy. That's great. But if the law was different, does it also screw up the general public?
Right. Well, I'm not a gotta catch 'em all person. I don't give a shit about
believe
that.
you. No, and I know
It's
I
just
get what
different
you're
with
saying.
owning a gun. I just feel like you are the one responsible for reporting it stolen. Yes, I understand that officers don't go to 3-in-1s. They don't go to the lobby. I am aware of that. But to say that they're not guilty completely is just crazy when all you had to do was report it stolen, right? Today, tomorrow, tonight, 3 hours from now.
How does I interface with a lot of civilians that are civilians, and they are such nervous wrecks after their guns are stolen because from the moment it's stolen, they are now on the hook for it until someone is willing to come down to the PD and actually put a report in. And I want you to consider for just a moment, when's the last time a cop has lost his job? When is the last time in relation to what happens to that civilian that for the next 30 days to nothing in their control, they are now completely screwed.
No,
it's a hard balancing act.
No, I get it. I just didn't know if there was, I don't know, just a different way to go about it. Again, not specifically for this situation, just for the guns in general not being reported, or maybe there would be an easier way for them to report them, for them as well, not waiting for us or sitting in the lobby for 3 fucking hours.
I think genuinely they're at minimum, and you don't have to call it a full report, but at least it's a step in the right direction, is if someone could come down to the police department and at least record, because let me ask you a question. If I 311 right now in the lobby and I said my gun was stolen, y'all probably put a report up, right?
If we were there, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you had a thing like where they could go to a form and say this date, this location, and put in a affidavit, would that be helpful? So I think it'd be helpful for you guys and it'd be helpful for them. It's not the end all be all, but
well, it would make it easier for them too, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So now you have a stronger argument then at that point to make that this wasn't stolen, despite how easy it is to report it stolen.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. We've talked about this before. What I'm a bit curious is just to understand here, Maxwell. What are you trying to explore here with Dino right now? Are you trying to figure out a way to
make it their responsibility, and it shouldn't be out of statute, but
ensure it's a responsibility?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all. I mean, I don't, I just wanted to talk about it.
Have the ability to
right.
I guess, to
right.
report it, right? Because it comes down to us being available, and if we're all laying on the ground or in the middle of a shootout, they're not able to report it. Do I think that excuses them too? I don't think so. I think they need to follow up with it. If they try once and nobody shows up, I'm while
Right.
in the current standings, if their gun was recovered 3 weeks from now, why didn't you try the day after, or record it or get a lawyer or something to do it? I think it needs to be better. There needs to be a better system in place. But I don't think it fully excuses them either, right?
Right.
I just don't know what that new system would look like. Does that mean, we can't just leave an open book on the front counter,
No, I can brainstorm stuff too, though.
We can't.
I think you could. I'm going to spitball something, right?
Well, I don't.
I'm listening,
because
but
the
I need a
moment
minute.
that gets stolen or somebody steals it,
No.
that's
Sorry.
liability.
LosSantos.me/report gun, right? Or using the court center account system, right? That you can only give in the city. You go there, you put it in, you have a document, and PD follow. All the reports, and then PD, if they choose, can follow up because it's got the phone number. You give that follow-up task to dispatchers, receptionists to do the follow-up call. Hey, your gun was reported. Da, 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 da. We need these extra details. Blah, 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 blah. You at least have some kind of affidavit in place.
Ideally, I'd like a government employee to be there present. I'm trying to think of a happy medium here because I don't want people, in the middle of a chase, as happened yesterday, people calling their car stolen. What happens when, a gun gets reported stolen and 5 minutes later you use it in a murder? Now we're starting to question, did they call as they're driving away from the scene? Did they report the stolen? Like, at what point, right? Having that person in front of you face to face, and I know that's our problem here. I'm just trying to
that
think
is
of the
a good
future
point.
any holes.
That is a very well, okay, but judges aren't that stupid, right? That if a gun was reported stolen in the midst of an activity, they're not gonna.
In the midst, timeline's everything, right?
Yeah,
it's a tough thing to prove.
I would argue that's evidence that they did the crime.
Depends what judge you get. But yes, the fact is, I feel there's still holes in it. Less holes than we have now. I don't know, right? There needs to be a better system where they're able to report them. So I do agree. Maybe we just need to brainstorm that a little bit more.
Yeah. Look, I'm always open to suggestions. If you guys come up to something, I'm down. But
yeah, I have a suggestion, and that's public information computer in the office that's accessible to the public. They come into the PD, they fill out the information on that computer, almost like a voting booth.
I like
and
that.
They submit it.
I like that a lot.
That means they came here in person and did it. Then
I do like that. Yeah. I think another thing that you really need is that when you purchase a gun, the serial number is on their financial record.
That would make sense. You're purchasing a firearm, you're a legally registered firearm holder.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense if we had a record of that. We make it that the gun stores have to do a quick a basic information gathering request, right?
Yeah.
Such as name and provide what kind of weapon was purchased.
Well, I gotta get running. I've got very little time left. If you guys need anything from me, please let me know, and hopefully whatever you guys are working on works out.
All right, thank you there.
But yeah, if a warrant expires, that's
something I absolutely got to get with you again on. That's something I'm confused on.
To go to the docket, you know what I mean? Extend the warrants, even if they fall off.
Thank you, Dino.
Anytime.
Howdy. Yeah.